the thing, what comes to mind, and there is this question. I would like to hear what's your take on that. So, what we focus on, our brain becomes one, or spiritually speaking, or esoterically speaking, that we are becoming, but we are thinking about. So, talking about psychotherapy, a lot of guys are talking that the question is. If we are digging too much in dirt, we are it's really hard to get out of it. So I will go one step further to make one hypothesis, what I'm working with right now, that so you should know your dirt, you should know how to forgive yourself and move on, not to dig yourself deeper and deeper and deeper, because my conception is we have such an amount of dirt, and I believe in reincarnation, all that stuff. So we have such a deepness of dirt there. So that main thing is we need to understand that, for example, we have had 1 trillion of failures in some aspects, and the question is, can we forgive and move on and become better human beings?
Now here, of course, I have to come again from me being like coming out of the psychoanalytic corner. I think the problem with that is the idea that if we just don't dig into the dirt, it doesn't affect us. And this is not what psychoanalytic theory would teach us. No, it is the exactly opposite. Our dirt is always there. This is also what the unconscious means, because we don't have to dig in our dirt, but it doesn't mean that it isn't there. The dirt is there from the moment you are born. From the moment you are an infant, that also already has an unconscious. In the moment of becoming a young adult, the relationship with your parents, the stuff you do, the desires you have, it's always there. And the thing with psychotherapy is that you can say, I don't want to dig into my dirt, but then you have to live with it, that the dirt is manipulating you and is working inside of you. It is simply there. It is exactly what I meant about we have unconscious desires and motives. We can also like, for example, those people who say, I want that so much, and they fail again and again. We also consciously sometimes try to fail at something, because in a certain way, failing and not achieving it is the actual function that it's having. But if I decide to look into my dirt, if I try to look, I like to think of this idea that there's an inner second person of us, the inner unknown, our unconscious person. If we give that person the hand and start to take responsibility, and this is also what Jacques Lacan said, is really someone I would recommend, a French psychoanalytic theorist and psychiatrist who was really important and founded his own direction of psychoanalysis. Is in psychoanalysis, the goal is to also take responsibility for your conscious in a way. And I can say this from my perspective. I've been to psychoanalytic therapy by Lacan for 5.5 years now. And I had a lot of issues and troubles, like every other human as well. There's a reason why you become a psychiatric nurse, you know what I mean? But it helped me so much to actually, I was like, we know all this, we love guilt. Guilt is such a strong emotion, I love to talk about guilt. Guilt is this one thing that gives us control. You know what I mean? To feel and access guilt gives us control over situations that we couldn't control before. I would like to give you again, if that's okay, the example I already gave in Portugal, where when you work with abuse victims, we often see this phenomenon of a woman being sexually abused. And after that, of course, at once we have this chauvinist talk. Yeah, she was dressing like that. She shouldn't have gone into that neighborhood, blah, 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 blah. It's fucked up bullshit. That's patriarchal bullshit. But it is more complex than that, because if you work with the actual victims, you will see that they actually assume this position, saying, maybe it was just my fault. I shouldn't have worn that skirt. I shouldn't have been out that late. Why are they doing that? Because it is, in that sense, they get a sense of control. They go back to controlling the situation. It was uncontrollable. Because if you get sexually abused, it is never the victim's fault. You know what I mean? So I think that the important thing is here to understand that if you don't dig into your own dirt, that doesn't mean that the dirt isn't there. It will always be there, and it always motivates you. This is exactly what Freud said with the third great insult. We are not kings in our own home.